flashcards are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremo.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now, the two guys that took 2 years to fix their audio problems.
Welcome to BGFG episode 428. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Fremo Z. How are you doing this week?
I think we're going to have to update that little bit on the intro.
What bit?
2 years to fix their audio problems. It was 2 years to fix an audio problem. We should have solved all of them.
That's true. That is true. Those that are watching live might see me and it looks like I'm wearing a fur coat. I am not wearing a fur coat. It's just particularly cold in the Northeast right now. And I am cold in the studio. I don't have a heater in the studio because by the time everything gets fired up and it gets warm in here. So the cold actually keeps that a little bit down, but it still means my feces and stuff are cold. So I'm a little cold.
Yeah.
So we're down.
It's a little chilly here. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
I hate you.
I mean, it is like 30 degrees outside.
Where you're at?
Yeah.
Really?
It might be a little warmer since the sun came up, but
Oh, that's nice.
but we had this thing down here called insulation.
What's that? Tell me. We try to use more insulation than anything else in the Northeast. There's not even an option. Like, we're finding ways to shove it into the wall, fill up the attic, put it under the floorboards, heat the floorboards. If you're redoing your house now, that's the latest fad, is to heat the floorboards, which I think is not a great idea.
Radiant heating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
definitely
okay
a
if you
thing.
use water.
I don't think so. But I do think that we're about to have a special guest of a young little child. That would be a grandchild. Look at that little kid. Thank God he doesn't look like you.
Yeah. I've been getting on to him to make sure they fed him a little bit more because, I mean, can you see the dimples where his knuckles are supposed to be?
Yeah.
What's up, Chunk?
Oh. Oh, it's gonna be fun seeing. It's always fun seeing a young kid with their first Christmas. Like when he gets the presents and he realizes people around him are ripping him apart, and they're like, "I could do that."
Well, we've already decided that to save money.
Yeah.
We just bought the older grandson gifts,
Oh yeah.
and then he'll get the boxes.
Saving money. That's a good idea right there.
You see that look he gave me? He's like, no.
Right, I'm not doing that. Well, that's a grandchild feature right there. So it is Christmas time. This is our second to last show before the end of the year and Christmas. Our BGFG highlights will be coming out soon.
No, this will be the last one before
No,
Christmas.
we
Unless
got-
we're gonna wedge one more in.
We're going to wedge one more in.
The highlight show.
It won't be the highlight show. The highlight show will be at the beginning of the year, but next week it'll be gifts for people you don't like. Or gag gifts, stuff like that.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do. This is going to be the last week of the actual lists. So if you can, I know it's a short notice, but you can still get some of these gifts. They're not going to be too hard to find. But before we do any of that, let's get into this week's news. That way we can, because I'm giving Fremo his gift right now.
Sideways
BGFG
with no
News.
glue.
You heard it here third. And what I mean by giving Fremo his wish is that I'm about to tool all over Apple, even as an Apple fanboy. And he's already smiling. For those that are just listening and not watching, he's already grinning because I'm pissed off. So first thing up is Apple pulls the ban hammer out yet again. and I think it's foolish. So there's a piece of software called Beeper, and it's a new app for Android to allow iMessages. That's great, right? I mean,
You would think.
well, that's the thing, is it allows all messages, like Trillian. Remember Trillian back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Trillian was awesome, but it was really like, even when you go to the site now, they still show pictures on their website of their product. Now, the reason why I really love Trillian is not just because it was an all-in-one feature. You had AOL Instant Messenger, MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, all built into one platform, but they used it as Trillian, which was a nod to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's one of the many reasons why I liked it. But Trillian hasn't been relevant in years. And now you have Beeper. Now, the big claim to fame is developed by a 15-year-old high school student. And I guess for the younger folk, it's not a good thing to have a different color bubble on your chat message from Android. Apparently, that's a thing. But if you have if you have iMessage, it still works. So what this kid did was he reverse engineered Apple's protocols. But before the trial period was even over for Beeper, Apple dropped the ban hammer. Now, here's my take on this, because, again, I love Apple, but fuck, man, you're a $4 trillion company. Loosen the grip a bit. Loosen the fucking... There's no reason why you can't have iMessages on an Android platform. There's really no good reason. Beeper CEO stated...
Yeah, there is.
Oh, why?
They don't make no money off of that.
But they don't really make any money off of iMessage either.
Yeah, they do, because now these poor kids are going to have to go out and beg their parents for an iPhone so they get the cool bubbles like their friends.
Okay, with that put aside, I understand what you're saying. The Beeper CEO stated, if Apple wants to keep their end-to-end encryption on Android, wouldn't they want to use iMessage rather than SMS? That is a great statement from a fucking 15-year-old or 16-year-old, however old he is.
Yeah.
SMS messages are not encrypted. But when you text somebody with an Android phone, when you and I text each other, that's not an encrypted message service.
Correct.
When I text my wife, who's also on an iPhone, that's encrypted. So if you care about your technology and your security and your encryption, then why wouldn't you want this? Apple's response to this was, and I quote, "We are unable to verify that end-to-end encryption is maintained when messages are sent through an unauthorized channel." Again, I call bullshit on you, Apple. They're using iMessage, right? So the skirt around it. So Beeper responded to what they said on Twitter by saying, "We stand behind what we've built." Twitter, the X. They had an outage for 3 days, and how they circumvented it was, instead of using the iMessage protocol with the phone number, they used the iMessage protocol with email instead of phone numbers, which kind of skirted around it. But they're still going to get banned again.
I love their response on X. For anyone who claims otherwise, we'd be happy to give our entire source code to mutually agreed upon third party to evaluate the security of our app.
Right. They're just upset that they're not making any money on it. They're upset that they're not getting whatever. And again, it's not even like they make money on iMessage. Like Fremo stated before, they're making their money on the possibility of some kid going, "I want an iPhone instead of an Android phone. That way the kids at school don't make fun of me." And that, look, as a parent, that's up to you to deal with.
Yeah.
But let's keep going with Apple's hypocrisy. I mean, they're all knowing, right? Apple's a closed company, embedded in secrecy from the outside and full of disclosure and transparency on the inside, right? That's their claim to fame.
Sure.
Then how the hell did one of Apple's top corporate lawyers get caught insider trading?
How?
Yeah,
Because he's apparently not as smart as he thought he was.
Well, his name's Gene Lenoff, or his name's Gene
Levoff.
His name's Gene Levoff, and he's here to party. His name is Gene Levoff, and his game is not keeping secrets.
Yeah.
He was Apple. His job at Apple was to ensure that Apple employees follow trade procedures for the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. But he also had access to financial reports before they were made public, which there's always going to be stuff. In retail, I get stuff all the time, special sales and things like that. In Fremo's job, he gets certain information that's coming down the pipeline, like newer products or newer protocols or newer divisions that aren't made public. You're told in an email usually to keep it secret and that you can't talk about it. Like in retail, you can't talk about the prices. If we get a flyer or a heads up on a flyer, we can't be telling people on social media about it, or else you get fired.
Right.
But he had access to financial reports. So between 2011 and 2016, he made illicit gains of $604,000 on trades worth more than $14 million. So you might be thinking, well, that's not a lot of money. I mean, before he fired him, he made $377,000. That's not a lot of money. You'd expect this lawsuit to inquire or be relevant for like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like this guy embezzled, no, that's, again, in Apple's defense, they were on top of it quickly and fired him quickly. He didn't make a whole lot of money. But still, Apple, this happened. It's coming from inside the house. It's coming from inside the house.
This is the guy in charge of making sure that stuff doesn't happen.
Right. And he's doing it. I mean, he's blatantly breaking the rules that he was supposed to enforce. And
he's obviously not too terribly smart, because if you're going to take that kind of risk, you go big.
Yeah.
You snatch your 10, your 15 million as quick as possible. You move it offshore. You get a plane ticket to Belize, and nobody hears from you again.
Yeah, I'm giving you my 2-week notice. I'm kind of
it just infuriates me that people that are in a position to pull off wonderful capers just don't have the intelligence to do so.
No. And what another thing that kind of why we shouldn't be saying this, Free. We really shouldn't, but I'm going to say it anyway. Why is more people not using the Da Vinci virus from Hackers movie? Why are people not doing that? A fraction of a penny to a financial institution or an Apple would not go.
Well, they are. There's people out there, and that's why they tell you to look at every charge that comes across your credit card statement, because there are groups that do that. They'll take a million credit card numbers that they've gotten a hold of, and they'll ding them all for a penny.
Yeah.
And then if nothing comes of it, then they'll ding that card again for $1. And if nothing comes of it, then they'll do $10, and they'll keep going until that card gets cut off.
Right, but even if they don't do that, what's if you get enough cards or you get enough accounts and you do a fraction of a penny on each account? That's what the Da Vinci virus is all about.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They'll
don't change it. I'm saying don't change it. Don't change the price. Don't change the amount. Because I know somebody like myself, knowing what I know, would look at a 1 penny charge on my account and be like, oh, there was a card checking to see if my account's still active. Because I know even at my job, they do that. They don't hit it with a penny, but they ping the account to make sure that it's still active. That way we know if their account's fraudulent or not, or their service plan has gone bye-bye, or the warranty's expired, or things like that. That's how they do that. But if you charge a fraction of a penny to it, and over millions of cards, you're going to make millions of dollars over the next couple of years. That's why I think
it's true.
We probably shouldn't be talking about this. Sir, where did you find the information on how to write this virus? BGFG, sir. They're not smart people, but they had a hell of an idea.
Yep. Yeah, the source code will be on the website later this week.
All you have to do is look at the... you know what? I'm not going to say it.
It'll be embedded in the Dumbest Kid Alive video. If you can figure that out, have at it.
My God, we share a brain. I was thinking the same thing. So this guy pled guilty to 6 charges of security fraud. What else in Apple? The full disclosure company is corrupted. Okay, so this story, the next story, kind of makes me a little happy, because it did happen, and I thought it was about time. Apple finally combined apps that have been using for a while. And I saw this coming a while ago, and I'm happy it did. I don't know how well it's handled, because what they did was they took their Apple TV. They have an Apple TV app, Apple Music, and Apple Movies. An Apple TV.
iTunes Movies, iTunes TV show. Get it right.
They combined all of them into the Apple TV app.
Yeah, because iTunes is going away.
Correct. So that's well done because it has gone away and it was replaced by Apple Music. And Apple Music is still a standalone app, but the TV and movies one is now incorporated into the Apple TV app. And I think this is great, and here's why. You can go to the Apple TV app and see all your purchases for Apple TV or Apple Movies. And you can search by a subset, which is nice. But any app that they've partnered with is also going to be there under the sub category of continue watching. So you're going to see your Hulu, your Disney Plus, your Amazon, any movie that you watch on these other platforms, Motor Trend, you're going to see listed right there. So it's a one-stop shop, which I believe is very nice, but exclusive to the Apple TVs, which I've been a huge proponent of. Now, it doesn't do Netflix because Netflix and them are not feeling each other. So you can't see your Netflix history, but you can see all the other ones. And again, I think the interface could
Good
use
on you, Netflix.
I think the interface could use a little reach around, get a little rub, get a little polish on it. But what bothers me is that even though you did the update for it, Apple, why the fuck didn't you take the other two apps off? Like, why didn't you take the apps off instead? And I understand why. I just think it's a stupid idea. You left the Apple TV and the Apple Movies app on the Apple TV, and when you click on them, it tells you to go to the Apple TV app.
Yes, to cut down on calls from grandmas.
I don't disagree, but it's just a lot of information on a single page. They need to polish up that menu system. It's a lot of information.
I'll take your word on it.
I know you will.
Have never, and never will see an Apple TV menu.
Oh, you will one day. You
Nope.
will one day.
I will gouge out my eyes with a hot iron poker before I do that.
Oh, and finally,
If
unidentified.
technology comes down to one universal standard and it's Apple, I'm out.
Unidentified governments are watching smartphones push notifications. We talked on the show before about how you have to have a legal warrant to get access to these devices. And Fremo agreed on the Apple side of, hey, you provide me with the warrant, I'm going to give you everything ever listed from that phone. So you can put in the media that, oh, Apple won't cooperate. Apple does cooperate. And it's probably one of the safest platforms that are iPhones.
They do, and they do it in a way that I find commendable.
Yeah, because they look like
they follow due process. We're not giving you jack until you show us your authorization, your legal authorization. Okay, here it is.
And then on the back end, we talked about
before. It's no different than me standing there telling the cop, "Do you have a warrant?" Then no, you can't come in my house.
Exactly right. And then when they do provide the warrant, instead of just going, okay, here's the phone numbers this number called, they literally go, here's 15 gigabytes of the history of this serial number on this phone. Every phone number ever attached to it, every text message ever came out of it. Like, this is everything we have. We're not holding anything back. If you can't find it in here, it doesn't fucking exist. Including geolocations, which we've talked about is kind of sketchy anyway. But Senator Ron Wyden sent a letter to the DOJ explaining how this should fall under the law. Then Apple says, oh, thank God you brought this up. Because apparently during the letter, it was divulged that people are, companies, which remain nameless, companies are asking for the notification information. So this doesn't fall under the current law. Notifications are notifications. So they're asking, hey, how many times were they notified that they left their geofence? How many times were they notified that there was activity on their camera? And law enforcement is using that to circumvent everything else, which I think is just, it's not illegal, but as soon as Apple
shady.
said that.
At best, it's shady.
But Apple finally, like when it was brought to the forefront, Apple was like, thank God somebody said something. Because what Apple did was when they were confronted with this stuff, it was under the guise of, hey, this is national security, or this is a ongoing investigation. You can't say anything about it. Just give us the notification. We're not asking for the phone numbers and shit yet. We'll get a warrant for that. But what we need right now is the notification information. And Apple's like, fuck, you're right. Fuck. Here. But they couldn't say anything about it. So when they do their full disclosures, which you and I have both agreed is a phenomenal thing for a corporation to do, they do it once a quarter or once a year, where they just disclose everybody that's asked for any information, which is basically like, hey, fuck all these guys.
Yeah. This is what's going on that y'all need to know about.
Right. So the fact that they're excited, they were like, holy shit, finally. Oh, yes. Can we change the law, please? So they did. And they're watching the notifications and making sure that they're tracked in the phone. It's not illegal yet, but they are making an amendment to it to make this part of that plan, which is nice.
And Apple also recommended to all developers to not include sensitive data in notifications and or to encrypt any data before adding it to a notification payload.
Which
smart. Basically renders the information useless to these people that are trying to get it without
right
due process.
It's always government agencies. Like they can say it's not disclosed, but it's not just our look, it's not just our nation people. Sheeple, pay attention. It's not just our nation, okay? There's other
it's government inclusive, not US government period.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah. They're all asking for this information. So it could be Europe, it could be anybody in the EU, the UA, China. It could be anybody. All right, that's enough for the news. Let's get into this week's music and carrying on with our Christmas music. I could not decide on 2 songs because they're old and short. I decided to do them both for a grand total of 6 minutes of music.
Woohoo!
And I could not resist. Next week, we've already divulged what the next week's song is going to be, which is the 12 Pains, because that's just a go-to. But this week, we're going to do the Chipmunks. Because again, it's one of those standards. So the first one's going to be the Christmas Don't Be Late, which is a standard. But a lot of people don't know about the Chipmunks Ho 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 song, which was done in the mid-90s, I believe. Christmas Don't Be Late, I believe, was done in the 50s or 60s. Ho 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 was done in the 90s. And it's just extremely catchy, and it makes me smile every time it comes on the Christmas playlist. So we're going to play both of those back-to-back for a total of like 6 or 7 minutes. Come back with some stick-style news, very little, and then we'll get into shopping for the fucking kids. Ugh. Toddlers are fun. Teenagers, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, just don't do it. That's my advice.
I don't know if we can say that.
Once you get to that age, if you want it, work for it. Here's a list of things you can do for me that will provide you the money to buy the things you're looking for. Welcome to the world, kid.
Thank you. All right, let's get into the Chipmunks, and we'll catch you on the other side for Stick Style.
All right, you Chipmunks. Ready to sing your song?
I'll say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, Simon?
Okay.
Okay, Theodore?
Okay.
Okay, Alvin? Alvin? Alvin!
Okay! Christmas, Christmas time is near. Time for toys and time for cheer. We've been good, but we can't last. Hurry, Christmas, hurry fast. One's a plane that moves the loop. Me, I want a hula hoop. We can hardly stand the wait. Please, Christmas, don't be late.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Simon.
Naturally.
Very good, Theodore. Alvin, you were a little flat. Watch it, Alvin. Alvin. Alvin!
Okay. One's a plane that loops the loop. I still want a hula hoop. We can hardly stand the wait. Please, Christmas, don't be late. We can hardly stand
Very good, boys.
Sing it again. Yeah, let's sing
No,
it
that's enough. Let's not overdo it.
What do you mean overdo it? We want to sing
Now,
it
wait a
again.
minute, boys.
Yeah, cut it. Why can't we sing it
Alvin,
again?
cut that. Now, wait.
Wait.
Theodore, just a minute. Simon.
Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle bells are ringing all around. Snowflakes fall and lights adorn our very merry tinsel town. Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, Santa sits us on his knee. Christmas gifts lie patiently beneath our decorated tree. La 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 lee. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. It's the time to send a gift to those of us less fortunate. Dave, if Christmas is so merry, why did you say it makes you uptight?
I never said that, Alvin.
Yes, you did.
I don't need this from you, Theodore.
You said you can't wait for it to be over, and
Ho,
that...
ho, ho, Alvin. That's your line. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, carolers sing merrily. Presents promise happiness, if only temporarily. Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, Grandma sends a baby truck. We are way too old for that, but they tell us to suck it up. La 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 la. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. It's the time to celebrate and send gifts we'll appreciate. Like cash, Grandma. Send us cash.
Alvin?
No more trucks, Grandma. Yeah!
Shall we just stick to the lyrics I wrote, please?
Oh, but you're in a bad mood anyway. And just
I am not in a bad mood.
Dave, you always said to be honest with our feelings.
So?
Just admit that you're stressed.
I am not stressed.
Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, cars are honking constantly, giving David headaches and increasing his anxiety. Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, grown-ups seem to go berserk. Why are parents so wigged out when Santa Claus does all the work? La 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 la, berserk.
Okay, hold it right there, guys. This is not what I wrote. And I never said to suck it up.
Yes, you did. Suck it up, fellas. Just quit your whining and suck it up. That's what you said, Dave.
Can we just stick to the song?
We're just trying to express our feelings, and just because we want iPods and cash, and you don't understand.
Oh, just suck it up, Alvin.
Ha-ha! Gotcha!
Alvin.
You are so busted.
Alvin.
Oh, just admit that.
Alvin!
Ho, 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 and jingle, jingle, bells are ringing all around. Snowflakes fall and lights adorn our very merry tinsel town. Ooh, yeah.
I don't know. I just like the Ho 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 song.
No,
I think it's a fun song. I think it's a fun song. I just do.
Yes, it is.
And nothing says it quite like that. So this week I am drinking the same beer that that's named after where I met my wife.
Hogarden.
Hogarden. What do you got?
I also drinking the same thing. The Rolling Rock.
Nice.
If it'll focus.
It'll focus. Oh, I enjoy some good beer. Oh, that's tasty. Okay. This week's Stick Style.
Gaming.
So first up, I want to say, like the Emmys, like the Grammys, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you can now screw the Game Awards. There's so many things in the Game Awards. You sit there, like, when you look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and who's been inducted, who hasn't been inducted, who's a part of rock and roll, who's not a part, like, I don't get it.
It all
Grammys,
ends up coming down to who wants to play the game.
yeah, exactly. Who wants to play the game? So, most anticipated, Final Fantasy beat out Star Wars. So, for anticipated games, the new Final Fantasy is about to come out, but they also have 1 or 2 Star Wars games. You still have Knights of the Old Republic that are supposed to be redone. It's on and off again. You have the new Star Wars game that's supposed to be out soon. That keeps getting pushed back, and you're saying that Final Fantasy is the most anticipated. I'm pretty confident that the Star Wars fans there are more of than Final Fantasy fans, in my opinion.
I don't know. There's a lot of people in Japan.
Do you want to show them the baby?
The best
Okay.
multiplayer. What?
Costume change.
Oh, that's adorable.
It's a bear.
That's a happy kid. Wait, not so happy. Oh, wait, he's happy again.
Someone's feet. Someone's feet.
That's adorable. Oh, the bigger
You say hi to
grandchild.
Phoenix. Say hi to Phoenix.
Nobody wants to say hi to me. You know what he's thinking? He's thinking in his head right now. He's going douchebag, like any good kid does. So back to the games. The best multiplayer, Baldur's Gate 3 got it in the abysmal category. Again, Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying best multiplayer. There's a lot of other games out there, but I guess they're going with newer games as opposed to older games.
Yeah, I guess.
Best racing game, Forza got it in a very competitive field. That was a very competitive field, and I think Forza earned it. Forza Motorsport. Best fighting game, Street Fighter 6 beat out Mortal Kombat, which I find extremely shocking. Mortal Kombat, the reboot, is getting a lot of good reviews. I've played it. It's really...
right there. No,
It's-
Paw Phoenix.
I'm right here.
Paw Phoenix.
You want to talk to Phoenix? Okay.
Well, what do you think of the latest game? I mean, what do you think of the best RPG? Baldur's Gate 3 beat Starfield in the only category that Starfield was in. Do you believe that? No?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, you do, don't you? Say
are you
no.
kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you at all.
Yes.
That really happened. It's bad enough
Say it
that
loud like you do with Pop. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. Mortal Kombat, I think, was a better polished game than Street Fighter 6, yet Mortal Kombat won. For the best RPG, little man, Baldur's Gate 3 beat Starfield as an RPG. I know. I was just as upset as you. And when, oh my gosh, you probably shouldn't be drinking that beer.
Yeah, that's Pop's drink, all right.
You're a young age. I should probably edit that out of the
Alright,
show.
go find me. Go find me.
So, in best RPG free, Baldur's Gate 3 beat Starfield. Now, I don't know how I feel about that. This was the only field that Starfield was in. It's the only category.
Yeah.
So the fact that they beat Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm not saying Baldur's Gate 3 is not a tremendous game. It very much is. It's not my cup of tea, but it's a very good game. Looks phenomenal, very deep, and a lot of people are playing it. But Starfield is nothing that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many categories now. It's almost ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean,
we didn't even cover half of the categories. Not even a third.
I will say that the best sound one I agreed with, best audio design, was Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes,
I
agreed.
totally agree with that one.
Yep.
You know, like category for innovation and accessibility.
Right.
Really?
And
I mean,
I've never heard of that before. But again, this past year,
somehow Forza wins that. A racing game wins the accessibility challenge.
yeah, yes, because they were very big, and this was a big thing before it came out about how it was going to be accessible to the blind. It was going to be accessible to a lot, and I applaud you guys for that. 100% applaud you guys for that. Having accessibility for handy-capable people is a phenomenal jump in gaming. Period. And there was a lot of different controllers that were utilized for handicapped people, which I think
Yeah.
is great. But does it need to have its own category? I mean, it kind of stands on
I
its
don't
own.
know.
It stands on its own. And
Yeah.
here's why, in our opinion, Xbox is the console of the year. As much as we've said that PlayStation's hardware and everything is great and their interface is great, here's why Xbox is console of the year. And that's because of their exclusive titles. Be mad, be happy, it doesn't even matter. Xbox's exclusive titles are selling Xboxes. Sony has God
Right.
of War and Gran Turismo. Those are phenomenal games. Pretty good replay on both of those games. But Sony has God of War, Sony has Gran Turismo, and Sony has God of War. That's it. They really don't have a whole lot of other things to go on. But Xbox has so much more for exclusives. Just off the cuff, you have Forza Motorsport, which won an award. You have Starfield, which almost won an award. You have Hi-Fi Rush, which Fremo talked about before. Hi-Fi Rush if you haven't played Hi-Fi Rush, try it, because Hi-Fi Rush is exciting and fun. Planet of Lana, it's like a Studio Ghibli game. That's also going to be original. And that's just this year alone. But don't sleep on Halo, Gears of War, Forza Horizon. Those are still phenomenal games that are also exclusive to Xbox. And we at Stick Style, you'll occasionally jump on Stick Style on YouTube and you'll see us playing Gears of War again, just for shits and giggles. And that is why Xbox gets our nod for console of the year. There's a lot of other things out there that are innovative. The PlayStation Portal, which I think is kind of stupid, but it is kind of innovative. The Steam Deck is another great contender. But I still feel that Xbox is leading the way in console gaming, from their online version to their standalone boxes. And I have a compliment and possibly a rant
Okay.
to end out this section. And
But before you get onto the rant, I want to cover one section. I don't know why Yoon Homie Sung Young didn't win Best Esports Coach. That one just tears me up.
Yeah, right. Esports coach. I mean, I'm not saying that esports shouldn't be taken seriously, but at the same time, why is esports being taken seriously?
And Best Esports Athlete. Do we really want to call them athletes, or we want to call them gamers? I think I'd rather be called a gamer.
No, we're not taking away from their skill set. We're not.
No.
But and realize what they do. If you look at the life of a gamer, a true gamer that's sponsored, they're literally playing almost all day. When they're not playing, they're exercising, because you're stationary so long practicing.
Yeah.
And the teams go through these incredible drills all the time. That's what a coach is for. But you're still a gamer. You know, and that skill set's only going to get you so far. Look at Cliff Blazinski. Legend. I played with him once. I think I told the story on the show. In Half-Life, I jumped into a room. He was there. I got fucking owned in seconds. Cliffy B was a juggernaut. And then he created Gears of War. So that's how he transitioned. A lot of these esports kids aren't transitioning like that. They're thinking that, being on YouTube and playing a new game that came out on Steam and getting that popular is where it's at. And it's not exactly where it's at. The complaint I have this week is about Twitch. And I think BGFG and Stick Style especially is going to be leaving Twitch. Because I'm just tired of the bullshit. Twitch was originally for gamers. And that's where Stick Style Show lives. And then they added podcasts and talk shows, which was great. That's where BGFG lives a lot of times, like it does now. Again, this was a great idea. Good platform. And then the meta stuff happened. So what the meta is a way to boost a channel and get subscriptions, because that's how you get paid. And granted, the payout is 70-30, 70 to the company, 30% to you. But if you have enough, like we talk about Amaroth repeatedly on the show, Amaroth makes bank. Tim the Tatman makes bank. So these people are the few and far between but there's a bunch of other people. And then the meta is a whole other problem. But that started to happen when it was just chatting. They launched a category called just chatting, where people were essentially just sitting there. Like I did it a couple of times where I was in the just chatting category because I was building the show for one of our shows one week. And I had the people have an opportunity to see my desktop, see how we're creating the show, doing things like that. It didn't do well. We had a few viewers here and there, but it wasn't like big time. But that meta started to create a backlash. So the chatting ended up being females in tank tops. And then you would see things like, well, if I get 5 subscribers, I'm going to stand up and do jumping jacks. Really? Really? And we've talked about it on the show before, how pissed off I get about stuff like that.
Dude, it shouldn't be a surprise. Every innovation that has come along since history of mankind has always been used to proliferate sex.
VHS versus beta. That was determined by the porn industry. It really was. So sex sells, which is a popular thing. But the problem I have is that Twitch was dedicated to gamers and talk shows, podcasts, things like that. People to get your media out there. Content creators was what it was. And you're not a content creator.
And now people have figured out they can make money on Twitch by selling sex, essentially.
Right.
Or the idea.
So these people that are quote unquote content creators that are sitting there in the tank tops, just talking and twirling their hair. My wife and I would watch it over coffee in the morning sometimes. Like we would just chuckle and laugh. And all you're getting is paid by thirsty teens and thirsty old men that are throwing their credit card numbers at you. So it became popular in a way to make money. Okay, you're making your money. I don't agree with you calling yourself a content creator because you're not creating content except sitting there and not exposing yourself, but giving these thirsty individuals a platform to say things or to do things. I just checked while writing the show notes for this, and the top category isn't a game, it's just chatting.
Yeah.
So that is the top category. And at the top, when I was doing the show notes and I looked, the top one was a girl in yoga stretching with 1.8 thousand viewers. Yoga stretching. That's it. Yoga pants, and they were stretching. Then there was a girl in camo yogas laying on her chair, completely reclined and facing the back end, so you're just seeing her butt. She's laying on her stomach playing a game, and that was 547 viewers at that time. And then there was a girl sitting there doggy style stretching, wearing the smallest bikini bottoms I've ever seen, with 3.3 thousand viewers. I scrolled down and got to 3/4 down on the page itself until you get somebody rebuilding a camera with basically 1,000 viewers.
Yeah.
So there is other things out there, but the reason why the others are so high is the amount of total views over time. And that's just a snapshot when you look at that opening page. That's just the people at the time. People come and go all the time. They do it in our show all the time. And those numbers change drastically, and all the meta will manipulate that. And the way to get better and more views is to skirt around the Twitch rules. And once you can skirt around the Twitch rules, is to show more skin.
If we had some squirting on our channel, we might get more views.
Oh, that's not untrue. But they're changing. They're going around the rules to show more skin. More skin equals more money. Mind you, this is a site that's supposed to be sharing gaming stuff. You can wear a swimsuit, which is great. Some guy from Europe was shown walking along the beach in a Speedo way back in the day and got a lot of hits. So if you can show that much flesh, then anyone could, which created the newest meta of wearing a skimpy bikini and put in a blow-up pool inside your living room and record that. And it was put on the beaches. Amaroth did it. A bunch of people still do it. And it's just a way to you're not a content creator. You're literally showing off your body. There's guys, and I'm not just saying girls. Guys do it too. There's guys that do workout videos. Now, the guys that just are sitting there ripped and they might have a little oil on them, and they're cut and they work out all the time, but they're showing their workouts and streaming that. I don't think that that's content creation. When you're doing your workout and going, here's why I did this workout, here's the nutrition plan I have as well, then you're educating people, and that's creating content.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there just, whether you're in a bikini or wearing no shirt while you're working out, guy or a girl, you're not creating content. You're manipulating the algorithm, and you're manipulating the rules that Twitch put forth.
Yeah.
And there's other platforms for that. Now it's meta to be topless, showing from right above your nips. And then what they do a lot of times is they'll lift up their arms when they get a sub, which will hopefully, for the thirsty people that are watching, hopefully show a little bit of nip action as an accident. And again, you'll get more subscribers and stuff like that. People love when they do that. But you're not a content creator. And as I've preached about before, and we're ending the year, Freemo's showing more skin right now, and I'm hoping we get something. Don't do it. We'll get banned. And the thing that really ultimately pisses me off is that at the very end of it all, they have Freemo. At the end of it all, the popular ones have links in their bio for their OnlyFans or Fansly sites. Like, come on, pick one or the other. Just go to OnlyFans. Leave Twitch alone, which is one of the reasons why we might be in 2024. We're probably going to be leaving Twitch and going over to Kick and or just exclusively on YouTube, because I'm just tired of sitting there. We have good content, regardless of what you say. We sound good and we have good content, and we're always there. And the fact that on BGFG we can't get any traction because we're competing with people that are in the same category that aren't doing that. Your podcast and talk shows is not you sitting at your desk with a tank top on, with your feet up on your desk, with the camera shooting your feet, and that's not a content creation. We work hard on this show. Freemo and I work very hard to get this show up and running every week and do what we need to do with our own life. This is not our life.
I mean, we could put the Reds behind us bouncing around while we're talking.
We could. And my redhead has offered that many a times. And I'm like, I won't do that. I won't compromise. It was the same thing we said years ago with BGFG, where it's like, well, why don't you get a sponsorship? Why don't you start reviewing stuff that's sent to you? Well, because then I'm compromising myself. Me or Freemo are compromising ourselves because we feel like we have to say something nice, even though your equipment's shit because you sent it to us or you're giving us a paycheck. We're endorsing you. There's a difference between review and endorsing. There's a big difference between that. And a lot of it has to do with money. And we just simply won't do that. I'll buy the stuff, or Freemo will buy the stuff, and then we'll either return it or keep it, but we'll review it. And the fact that people think that they're content creating, but you have an OnlyFans account too, I get it. You're multiplexing. You're going onto other platforms. But the people that are on those platforms, like Stick Style, that are just gaming, don't even have a breath of a chance. If I throw my wife on here in a tank top and no bra and make believe she's gaming while I'm gaming off camera, oh yeah, I guarantee you I'll get views. But why? Why would I do that? It's just, and then what happens if we get caught? Is it going to be like, well, she needs her own site and Chris is a douche canoe and we will never support him again? I'm not going to go through that. We make content and we do good content. Whether you like it or not, we do provide content. We provide an education. And if you don't like that, then fine. On Stick Style, we're a generational gaming community. And that works. And the fact that we're not on OnlyFans or Foot Fetish or Fansly or any of those shouldn't matter. We're putting out content and we're doing it the right way. And just like anything else, we don't get it. So now in BGF fashion, we'll make a very awkward segue because my rant was over. The awkward segue is going into the gifts for kids.
Right. That's right. You want some good gifts for your kids. Don't give them an OnlyFans gift card. Keep them off Twitch at this point. Do your kids a favor. Oh man.
That's like awkward segues.
Yeah, there was no way to segue from the rant.
Nope, there wasn't. When I was writing it, I realized
And in
that.
other news.
Yeah. So let's get into the gifts. So we're going to start off with the gifts for kids this week, and it's going to be the little ones first. So for the little ones, what the first thing that I came up with, I don't even know what you came up with for this
Their
week.
pajamas. I just displayed it a little while ago.
Oh.
I didn't have time to get a picture of the show notes, so I just did it live.
So for the little ones, one of the things I recommend is deMoca, busy book for toddlers. So this will allow them to work on shapes, tying, zippers, textures, buckles, critical thinking, which Fremo and I are a huge fan of with the youth today, fine motor skills, and the best part is no screens. Most of the stuff on this segment is going to be no screens. It's way too easy to throw your kid in front of an iPad. I see it at work every day where they're like, oh my God, my iPad's going to be repaired. What do you mean I'm going to be without it? Oh, I'm sorry. You might have to interact with your child. My bad. Right. And I say things. They look at me They look at me like I have four heads when I say, they're like, what am I supposed to do? Well, how old's your kid? Oh, they're 12,
Have you
13.
considered reading a book to them?
Exactly. I've actually recommended C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia. And they're like, what? Holy shit, lady. Get your kid a book.
Yeah.
Take them outside. Go grab leaves. Here's a lost art. Go grab a leaf. Yeah,
you see that?
Freeman's gonna blister.
See it blister right there?
Outside with the kid clearing a spot of land so we can build him a lean-to and a campfire so he can go hang out at it.
Right. Another lost art. Going outside, going for a walk.
And had a blast doing it.
Grab a leaf. Take that leaf or those leaves home. Use crayons. Rip off the wrapper on the crayon and make a leaf representation on a piece of paper by rubbing it on there. Look, it doesn't have to be elaborate. Just do that. So a lot of our gifts are going to be stuff like that. I want you to get the mindset if you're a listener.
Buy a big old pack of construction paper at the dollar store. Get you a bowl, throw some flour and water in it to make a little quick paste. And make some stuff out of the construction paper.
Yeah.
Build a village, build some dinosaurs, do something.
Right.
Use your imagination.
You don't need
you
to be in
have
front
one.
of the screen. You
may have forgot that you have one, but you have one.
So yeah, you can. So for the little ones, we recommend a book like that where it's gonna help them. My granddaughter right now, my daughter is not putting my granddaughter in front of any screens at all outside of the TV to watch educational cartoons and shit. Outside of that, everything's fine. And something like this is going to be great. It's $34 for that book. Fully worth it, in my opinion. The next thing I have up is, you might not like it, but flashcards. Flashcards are disturbingly good. And they're 5-inch flashcards. You can increase your vocabulary, learn counting, toddler and preschool editions they have out.
Yeah.
Good.
The memory games, where you put the cards face down and it's got the different stuff on them and you try to match them. Same kind of thing. You're teaching recognition. They're learning colors. They're learning words. They're learning shapes.
Right. Exactly. And the key here, people, is fucking learning. Okay. They're not, I can learn from video games. We've said that on the show before. You're not learning from video games. You're taking what you've learned and incorporating it into video games.
Yeah.
Most video games are not teaching you. And if you think that you are playing a video game and it's teaching you something, I think you're going to reassess things. I'm not saying that things on a screen don't help. There's things like Lexia that's phenomenal for English comprehension for any child. But at the same time, there's other things you can do, like flashcards. They're 5-inch flashcards. You're going to get better vocabulary, learn counting. And for $28, you have a toddler and a preschool edition. Your kid's going to have a leg up on all the other kids going into preschool or kindergarten. That's a good thing. So let's get into for tweens. We like to call this the fun age. And this is where I'm
going to try not to rant because tweens is made up. It's not a thing.
It is the fun age for kids because they're smart enough to know certain things, but they're not at the age where they can accept certain things. Fatal Fastlane is in this with his kid right now. As much as it annoys us sometimes when he starts, he's just a proud dad. He really is.
Yeah.
And that age, Freemo and I know is so much fun that you just can't help yourself. So one of
Oh,
the first
you end
things.
up, yeah, you're living vicariously through your kids at that point.
Oh my God,
Because
yes.
you're right there with them. You're doing stuff with them, and they want you there. You know,
Yeah.
they're wanting to have you there still. They're not that age
Yeah.
where you're
Like
stupid and don't
like
know anything.
you're going to pick out a bicycle and you immediately know what kind of kid you have. Oh, he wants that BMX that's got the trick stuff on it. Or he
Yeah.
wants the mountain bike because he wants to go for long rides and through the woods. Like, you know this shit. You're living through them. You're like, yeah, that's fucking cool. Let's do that. I'll get a bike too. Like, you're doing
Yeah.
all sorts of fucking fun stuff. So one of the first things is Snap Circuits Junior, which is dear to me and Freemo, because this is the shit that we used to get at Radio Shacks back in the day. So around Christmas time, Radio Shack, I know because I worked there.
But
Radio
this
Shack,
is the fancy version.
correct. This is the absolute fancy big budget one. But back in the day, you'd be able to go to Radio Shack during the holiday season and get these wonderful little breadboards that would be boxed up for, like, hey, make sounds, make an alarm, make a motion detector. And you would physically wire these things. It's a little bit more advanced now, but you're going to learn electronics and circuit boards. You're going to make a siren with this thing. You're going to make a doorbell, a musical doorbell. You're going to make a
These
flying
things are
saucer.
great for developing kids in the STEM category.
Oh
Science,
my God, so
technology,
much.
engineering, mathematics. I mean, this is the modern version of like Lincoln Logs, erector sets.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it
yeah,
gets
yeah.
to be hands-on and create.
And I want to touch upon that, because when people say, "Oh, why would I get Lincoln Logs or Legos or Tinker Toys if I could find them?" Because they still make some of those things.
They do.
Why? Because when you extend something out a certain amount and it falls down and you can't fix it, your critical mind or your child's critical mind goes, maybe I need to make it shorter. Or maybe as a parent, you're walking by and going, what are you working on? Oh, I'm making this bridge and won't hold my Matchbox cards. Oh, put a pin right here. Put another stand right here that'll strengthen it up. And they go, holy
Yeah.
shit, that fucking works. It's a brilliant thing. That's why I miss Radio Shack so much. You can get Snap Circuits Junior for $35, and I encourage you to get this. It is a gift that keeps giving. Kids get it. Even if they do one project, they're going to understand it. If they do multiple projects, maybe science is in their future, and there's nothing wrong with that
Yeah.
at all. And if you have
And worst case scenario, which is still a good thing, they learn not to do certain things. Like I got a dead spot on one finger from
yeah, go.
I hooked we built a little helicopter out of the what were they, erector sets.
Erector
right?
set. Yep.
So and folks, erector sets when we were growing up back in the day, they weren't polished little sets. I mean,
Plastic.
like if you grabbed a piece the wrong way, you got cut from a rough edge, right? I mean,
Oh, not just that. It was made out of metal. So if you put
yeah.
power to it and you touched another part of it, you got zapped.
Oh yeah, you had the little electromagnetic motors. Well, we built this little helicopter and we hooked up it's like, I don't know, AA, AAA battery to it. And
Yeah.
a helicopter we built was a little heavy for that size power.
Yeah.
I mean, it would spin, but it wouldn't go nowhere. And we're like,
Yeah.
man. So I'm looking around. I'm like, let's hook it to the battery on the boat out in the carport. So we got to the carport.
Did it fly
There's
free?
the battery. I take the wires and I hold the wires to the post because I'm not old enough to understand that
No,
you're not supposed to
no.
go post at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The helicopter
It flew.
knocked a hole in the roof of the carport.
Yeah.
Had to learn to live with the consequence of that.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. If you're a Lego fan, it's
But
the
it
same thing. Like
freaking flew.
yes, it did. Had a lot of power. Very similar to like the Avengers movie when Thor hit Iron Man with the lightning, and he was 400% above capacity. Same thing, people. If you don't understand what we're talking about, that's what we're talking about. For the Lego fans, and again, a lot of Lego fans, I can tell you that if you have an autistic child or an Asperger's child, they probably have Legos, and they have a lot of them. We talked about it on the show before, like buckets and buckets. You stop trying to organize them; they're just there. And if you have an autistic child, it's beautiful because they know what bucket has what piece. It's amazing. And you can be like, and I've done it with my kid. I've been like, hey,
Oh yeah, you're like,
I
man,
need
I
a,
need a
oh, no, wait, I got you. I need a 4-piece thin for a railing.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, okay. Here you go. You want it blue or red?
yeah, exactly.
Thank you. So Lego Chain Reactions is another piece that you can get. Lego Chain Reactions is really fun because what it does is it gives you, let me scroll back down here. It gives you the design and building of 10 reaction moving machines. So it's an 80-page instruction booklet. So if you have a kid that has Legos, and it comes with a few pieces that might be necessary, attachment pieces, wheels. It comes with a few.
Yeah.
But for $18, you're going to get 10 reaction moving machines. You're going to be able to build those.
Which is phenomenal because, you know, you go buy one freaking Lego set at Walmart that's got like 18 pieces in it and they want $40 now.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So use your old Legos, and this is one of the wonderful ways to use them. And if I could add to that, if you don't want to do Lego Chain Reactions as a book for $18, there is many sources of books during my investigation, many books that will have you make new projects with your child with the available Legos that you have, regardless of color or anything else. Yes, you bought them the Star Wars ones and the Lord of the Rings ones and the Indiana Jones ones and the Pokemon ones and the basic builder sets and whatever. You can recombine all of those as if you didn't fucking know that. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but if you didn't know that, you can combine other sets. You don't need to use those just with that set. Tear that shit down. Build it again. That's the great part of Legos.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I just had a thought.
Don't do that.
When the apocalypse comes, I'm going to the freaking Lego headquarters.
You'll be able to do some shit with that.
Raiding all that stuff.
Why is there not adult Legos?
All coming home with me.
Like bricks the size of real bricks, like 5 inches by 3 inches. Why is there not? Like there'd be a shit ton of us adults going, what are you doing on Saturday? I got a case of beer. Me and Fremont are going to go build a fucking shed.
Yeah.
Out of Legos. And what do you do afterwards? Oh, we're going to be drunk, so we're going to be sidekicking that shit down.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can knock it, how many hits it takes to knock it down.
Right. Oh, man, maybe that's a business opportunity right there that we should be working on. Oh, that would make some money.
Yeah.
Last thing up in the tweens, which is Fremo's favorite new phrase, is amazing science. And this is another one that I think is another lost art completely. Amazing science is all the shit we did as kids. What this book represents is it's got 83 hands-on experiments from making slime. They got food science. They got outdoor science. Let's not forget the greatest science experiment at home of all time, the fucking volcano with a simple lantern battery. So this book gives you 83 hands-on experiments. I cannot tell you what a joy it is to work with your kids. 2 of my kids out of the 5 I did slime with, and it was like it faded afterwards kind of fast because it got sticky but making it and everything with Elmer's glue and stuff was so much fun. Food science is a lot of like, hey, let's reduce this or let's make this. Outdoor science, oh my gosh, Fremo can go on a tangent about outdoor science.
Oh yeah.
From making a little tiny dam in a local stream that you have to
I'm looking forward to that. Making a little hydroelectric dam with the kids.
Right. There's
I've already got a old alternator that's still good, and we're gonna make a dam and hook it up and plug some lights into it, and
right. It's fun to do. And it's only that book is only $14. I mean, how can you beat that? It's $14 fucking dollars, people. And it's going to give you time with your kid. I cannot express to you, as Fremont and I being the older generation, and our kids are mostly grown, except for our grandkids, of course. Spend this time. If you're a younger guy or girl, and you just had a kid, or your kid's in one of these categories, do this time. You're not going to get it back.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get it back. 2, you don't have to spend money to spend time with your kid and to make memories. And if you don't know how to do it, hit us up, man. We'll give you tons of ideas that won't cost you a dime, and you'll make some great memories with your kids.
And look, we're not saying that we're perfect parents. None of us
No,
are. Like none
no.
of you listening are. We're not
But
perfect
we're
parents.
looking at it. We're looking at it from we've already been there, and I wish I'd have done this more or that
Correct.
more. We
Correct.
already know. We
Yeah.
have the regrets, and we don't want y'all to have them.
Right, exactly right. And it's phenomenal.
It's
Now let's
not money. It's not
it's
giving
not.
your kid the latest and greatest gadget so that they look cool to their friends. That's not it. You want to have a good relationship with your kid when it's all said and done. Spend time with them. Period.
Yep. And
And
let's get
don't worry
into
about doing it right. Just do it.
correct. Getting into the teens. The teens are real easy because they hate us already.
Yeah.
So it's a gimme. But one of the first things is if you're not going to go with a squish pillow, I like this knot pillow. I think it's pretty cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's about the size of a basketball. It's hand sewn, made from soft material, and it's just what it sounds like. And it's not expensive. You can get different sizes for different things for like $14 and up. It's a wonderful little pillow that the teens will enjoy. The other thing, which is something that they hate us, and this will help ease the pain a little bit, is get them a pair
Yeah, I
of
think
Beats.
just real quick, the knot pillow is great because you can give it to them with the instructions of, you know what? Instead of talking to me, just stick your face in this pillow and scream until you know you're ready to have an actual conversation.
For
You're not gonna talk at me, okay? So you can either put your face in this pillow and scream, or I can hold your face in this pillow and you can scream.
That is true. Anybody that has teens right now is laughing their asses off. I guarantee it. The other thing you could do is get them Beats headphones. And unfortunately, even as a retail person, I'll tell you, and being an Apple person, if you're going to get the Beats headphones, get the accidental damage plan. However they want to sell it to you, get that plan. Because these kids are going to break that shit. And all you have to do is go back to the store and get it replaced. It comes in several colors, connects right to their phones. They can ignore us as long as they want with 40 hours of battery life. Then they're going to have a conversation with us at some point. They're a little bit on the expensive side with $140, but that is absolutely the smartest thing to do. Another thing you could do, depending on the age of the teens, is a gas card. Because God knows they are consistently asking us for gas money, whether they're using their own car or our cars. They're constantly asking for gas money. So just give them like a $100 gas card. And you won't hear from them for like 3 months. Because as much as they think that they're traveling, well, see, down south, what?
$100 gas card might last a week.
Yeah, because you live like where you live in the south, everything's far away. Up in the northeast, it's not far away. You might be traveling half an hour the most.
$100 for months. I want some of what you've been smoking this morning.
It's not smoke. I haven't yet, but it's not smoking. It's just that we live in a smaller place.
Dude, $100 ain't even 30 gallons. That's like
Yeah.
2 fill-ups, maybe.
I haven't filled up in 2 weeks. My wife has not filled up in 3 weeks because we're so close to everything that we need. You live a half an hour from anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So it's way different. All right. Last thing we're going to do this week is the gift for the adult kids.
I mean, it does take like 30-something minutes to get to work one way.
Yeah, I don't have that anymore.
But I get to drive like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't. I travel at about 50, and it takes me maybe 10 minutes. Maybe. It's a pleasure to not drive 45 minutes anymore to work, but I digress. Last up is the adult kids. Now, the adult kids, ladies and gentlemen, are fucking far easier than everybody else outside of toddlers, because toddlers don't give a shit. If it blinks and makes noise, they're happy. They don't even realize they're learning shit. But for the adult kids, you don't want to fuck around with them because they've been there, they've done that. What I would say is if you have adult kids with kids, if your kids have kids, like you have grandchildren, one of the things you can do is just give them a night out. Just flat out give them a gift card to something, or if they're into like performances, like a play or a concert or something.
I mean, you ain't got to be that nice about it. Just be like, hey, bring the grandkids over. And then when they show up, you let the grandkids in and shut the door. If they can't figure it out, that's their problem.
It's so awesome. One of my kids would literally sit outside the door like, why the fuck did he shut the door? Let me just wait here. I'm not going to say which kid it is, but one of my kids would absolutely do that shit.
What do
Give
we
him
do
a-
now?
Yeah, right. What do we do? Dad's going to come
I
back
mean,
out
they've
here. He's
got
going
the
to be pissed.
kids. The kids are in there. They're going to be fine. What should we do?
Yeah. So
You
a
guys sit
night
in the
out.
car, listen to music.
Yeah, just give them that
Okay.
time off. Give them that time off because we remember how busy it was, and our parents probably had to work, and we didn't have that luxury. But let's give that to our kids. Let's give them that night off. Let them go party. Let them go drink. Pick up your kids tomorrow morning. Our kids are going to sleep over. You make the infamous couch bed where you put the sheets on the couch.
Yeah, we sent ours to Florida. Go take a vacation. We got the grandkids.
Yeah. Another thing
Really?
that I want to.
Yeah, because you're not raising them right. We got a lot of work to do in the
That's
4
not-
days you're going to be
Oh
gone.
my god.
Douchebag.
Oh my god. That is great. But not untrue. The last thing I want to recommend for the adult kids is a family recipe book. And I don't know if this I can only assume it's prevalent with down south because you
Dude,
make
this
a phenomenal
is a
steak in the
great
kitchen.
freaking idea.
You make
This is
a
a
great
phenomenal idea.
You make a great steak. I know that for a fact. You make a phenomenal steak. So the way it's seasoned and cooked is important to you. Up here in the Northeast, me being half Italian, half Portuguese, there's certain dishes like carbonara for the Italian side, or Portuguese. It could be polve, it could be bacalhau. Those different meals are unique to each individual family. Like God knows, I met an Italian person one time that made lasagna with one of the layers was hard boiled eggs cut in half. I was like,
That's intriguing.
it's not. When you bite into it, it is not. I can guarantee you because I've been there.
Oh, I
done
didn't say
that.
it was good. I said it was intriguing.
Okay, intriguing. I'll go with.
Like, I
It's
want to
not
be
good.
there. I want to be there on the night that was invented. Because that had to be some good shit going on.
Dude, let's put some eggs in here. Like that's going to be the worst idea ever. But a family cookbook, there's plenty of them on Amazon. Get yourself a family cookbook. Write a couple of those recipes in there. One of my brothers will not give me my mom's carbonara recipe. He will not. I'm like, come on, man. There's something I'm missing.
I got a meat sauce recipe that is handed down from guy to guy in my family.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So
I
as
got,
soon as Trey's ready,
yeah, I got
as soon as Fro is ready.
I get a bread recipe from my great grandmother, and we made it not too long ago, and it was not good. It was just, I don't know if there was something
I'll
they
tell
were
you
missing.
why. I'll tell you why. I can tell you right now why it wasn't good.
Why?
You didn't have the yeast bowl that your grandmother had. I guarantee you she had a yeast bowl.
What do you mean?
You know how you can grow your own yeast?
Yeah,
And you have to put a little bit of yeast in when you make your bread?
sure.
Okay. Yeast bowl, biscuit bowl, different people call it different things, but it's a bowl that you start your mix with
Yeah,
and you add to it and
Yeah.
you make your dough and you pull it out, but that bowl's still sitting there with the stuff in it and you just add to it every time.
huh?
I
That's similar to
guarantee
what
you
you
that's
told-
what.
That's similar to what you told me about the iron skillets.
Yep.
Huh? Interesting. I never thought about it like that. That could
I
be the
guarantee
secret.
you she had a whenever she made that bread, she had some kind of a bowl or container that already had stuff in it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
she would add flour, egg,
That would
whatever,
make sense
mix
because
it.
back then, I mean, this was 1920s, I believe. So back then, they probably kept that shit right on the counter.
Yeah, they did.
know?
And you put a piece of cheesecloth on it, and you stick it in the pantry where it's nice and dark.
Yes.
My dad's mom had a bowl. She used to make homemade buttermilk biscuits, and she had the bowl, and I never saw that thing get cleaned. Never. She would just add to it.
Makes sense. Again, this is where the family recipe book comes in. Little secrets like that, little add-ons that you discover and everything. It's a great gift for the adult kids. It really is. All right, so that about does it for the gifts for the kids this week. Next week will be gifts for the people we don't like. which is going to be fun because there's a couple of things that we've talked about on the show before. I'm definitely thinking about doing. A couple of things I'm getting for my kids this year that they're not going to like. So yeah, so that's going to be the last show is next week. We're going to bang out that show. It's going to be really light, really quick. Then we're going to work on our highlight show, do that for the beginning of the year. We also have the Stick Style monthly highlight show. We're soon to be playing Stick Style. We're going to take the last couple of weeks of December and into January off. We're playing Stick Style still, but we're not going to be doing a BGFG show, which we don't any years. So do you have anything to add to this week's gifts?
No.
All right.
I don't buy gifts for tweens or teens. So
All right. If that does it for this week's show, that's it. 10's down. Show's over.
whoop, whoop.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.